What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back.
Go!
We had a great first weekend of March Madness deal. We've been leading up to it all season. It's the only thing we care about, and it has come time now to dive into the matchups. I think, you know, looking back on it now, I think I'm more excited for this coming weekend with the Sweet 16 Elite 8 because just of the matchups that they are. I think what we saw from this first weekend is the upsets are not there like they used to be. The mid-major talent level, like there's a good high point team, but other than that, man, it was not a lot of upsets. It was a lot of chalk. I think favorites went on like a 14 game win streak or something at some point on the second day. So we'll just dive right into it on Thursday. Dill, what was your favorite game from Thursday?
Well, I kind of wanted to reiterate what you said earlier. You said
Mm-hmm.
this is the only thing that we care about. Just for clarification, Steven has a wife. He has a job. I have a job as well. I have a loving family. But he's right. This is the only thing that we care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, my favorite game on Thursday, maybe the first one of the day. I think it really started out with a bang. TCU and Ohio State. TCU wins 66-64. Really exciting back and forth game. Honestly, really surprised by how Bruce Thornton went out. I thought he was going to have a better game than he did. Kind of an Ohio State legend. You don't really see that much anymore from these high major guys that stay all 4 years. Not a secret. We've talked about it before, but just kind of disappointed with how he played, with how all of Ohio State played. I think he had ended the end of the game with 10 points on 3 for 9 shooting. So just not what you want to see out of him. Really thought it was a good game though. Yeah, Steve, what was your favorite game of the first day?
Ooh, Dill, I think it would have to be. Oh, man, there was a lot of I enjoyed more games on Thursday than I did on Friday. Like the first half
Right,
of the round of 64. I
right.
got a shout out High Point, Wisconsin. That game was
Yeah, that was a good
electric. I
game.
mean, they were
Yeah,
down 8 with 5-6 minutes to go. Chase Johnson was. I mean, I saw a couple of tweets of like him to pull up that shot from the logo
dude.
in
Yeah,
transition with 30 seconds on the shot clock. In hindsight, seeing that they won and stuff, like wow, like that was what sparked them coming back. He hit 3 crazy threes down the stretch to get them back in it. He's got a real like Steph Curry like release, just his
yeah,
ability to just kind of fling it
yeah.
up there. Um, I also felt like the St. Louis Georgia game, while it was a blowout, man, St. Louis looked amazing in that game. Just a real exciting team to watch. I think they proved that they deserved in the tournament. I think as a mid major, I don't think anyone didn't think they deserved in, but I think they definitely earned a lot of respect in that game. Obviously, the Duke Siena game was pretty
hmm
crazy. They were up 12 at one point. Siena, man, they played their butts off, and weird. I don't think I've ever seen it though that they played the starting lineup the entire game. Like
Yeah,
I will say that because they did have a sub at the end, but like he was just to foul,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever. But man, that's crazy to me that like they took Duke to the brink. I'll say this too. Duke had to go zone to beat a 16 seed. Like
That's crazy.
that is
That's crazy.
insane to think that they had to switch up their game plan and throw something different at them to get them off their game. Like that was a bad look for Duke. But, yeah, Dill. Let me think if I
I
get. Yeah, go ahead while I'm thinking.
no. What was the first game you talked about? Yeah, just the high point stuff. It's honestly
Mm,
like it's also interesting too. I think everybody overreacts in the space of college basketball. Everybody overreacts, myself included. I think the thing that everyone's overreacting about right now is like the lack of Cinderellas, uh, the lack of like any sort of mid major doing anything good, anything remotely passing the Sweet 16, which I do agree with to an extent. I think it's a small sample size. We've only had this for 2 years now, so like it's not like this has been a reoccurring thing. This is the second year now that I think a true mid major hasn't really made an impact. High Point won one game. their NIL budget is what 2.5 million. I think I saw. So it's not like
Yeah.
they're playing with absolutely nothing. I will say, I do think, and I think you'll agree with me on this. I do think we are headed more towards chalkier and chalkier March Madnesses. I
Mm.
don't think, however, that it's going to be all one seeds in the Final Four every year. We saw it yesterday, like Florida didn't win, and I don't think it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds in the Sweet 16 every single year. So it is going to be chalkier. I do think so. I do also believe that people are slightly overreacting to, oh, no more Cinderellas ever again. I think that is a slight overreaction.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with your take that like High Point, while they are a mid-major and they're in the Big South, like they are far from a team like you said with no NIL budget, and so like you could argue that they are similar to some of the high major teams out there that have made it in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
tournament. Another game, Arkansas, Hawaii. I think we talked a little bit about that matchup. Like we keyed in on that because we thought I thought Hawaii had a chance
Yeah.
pregame to pull one out with their style of play, but man, like their style of defense with no help and kind of just letting guys play one on one did not work in their favor. It allowed guys like Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff to really operate in space, and they just couldn't stay in front. They were driving. Acuff was doing a great job of driving and dishing, throwing up the lobs. Yeah, so I don't think I had really any other comments. I mean, other than South Florida backdoor covering against Louisville, that was pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Question: UNC against VCU. UNC up pretty big near the end. VCU stormed back, took it to overtime, got the win. Um, do you think without Caleb Wilson, was this a game that UNC should have won? Is this on Hubert Davis, or what's your takeaway from this game for UNC?
UNC had a 98.6% chance to win that game with
Mm.
about 8 minutes left. I think it was 8 or 9 minutes left, 7 minutes left. They ended up losing that game to a mid-major school. I don't care that you don't have Caleb Wilson. Dude, you got to find a way, man. You're up 14 with 6.5 minutes left to a mid-major team. This is the biggest game of the season for you. You got to find a way. Yeah, I like I said, I don't care that you don't have Caleb Wilson. You got like Henry Vasar has consistently been one of the best big men in all of the ACC. That's not a secret. And like you have decent enough guards to pull it off. Like, man, what a collapse by Hubert. Here's a question for you, Steve. Overreaction maybe, but like, is he getting fired? Is he getting fired?
That's what I was trying to ask you. Like, I think that's what I've been hearing is that a lot of people think he's on the hot seat. I think it's definitely worth a conversation. Like, I definitely think it's within the realm of like a possibility. But if I had to lean toward my gut, it would say they're going to give him another year. I just think there's just such high expectation. Obviously, there's high expectations at UNC, and it's like, you're given a good NIL budget. You're given, the lore of being at UNC and stuff. Like, you got to be able to deliver it. Like you said, especially when even though you don't have Caleb Wilson, like, you still got an all-conference big man. You got an all-conference guard. Like, you got a good team. You just got to figure out a way to carry it out.
Agree. I think if I had to guess, if I had to guess, I think it's pretty 50-50. But
Yeah.
I will also agree with you. I'd lean more towards no, but I could 100% see like tomorrow or the next day. Honestly, I could see like it's kind of crazy. We were talking about how like the lack of blue blood like coaching space like opening up and why like some mid-major coaches might be a little bit hesitant to take a leap of faith to the next level like a high major because there's a lack of the high major jobs open this year. But like now I wouldn't be surprised if Hubert Davis gets fired. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Bill Self steps down. So like that's two spots. Like now that like there's some like real consideration for some of these mid-major / lower high major coaches to actually like move it and improve to a better spot. So
Yeah,
we'll see,
wow.
man.
That's
We'll
a
see.
hot take. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to Friday, like I said earlier, kind of like a real chalky day. I don't think any underdog won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, kind of
you're
throw
right.
out the 8-9 games; those are basically toss-ups,
Yeah.
anyways. But yeah, literally it was chalk all the way. Arizona,
Yeah.
Florida dominated 1 seeds. Two seeds also dominated, but Iowa State, man, they lost Joshua Jefferson. Not gonna lie, seeing him in the boot and on the scooter makes it seem a lot more serious than they're letting on.
Hmm.
I don't know what to think about them going forward. Like I going into the Sweet 16, their matchup against Tennessee, is it? Yeah, they're playing Tennessee. Man, that's gonna be a big X factor question mark going forward for them.
He's I don't think he's a top 5 player in the nation, but he has been a top 5 most impactful player in the nation. I think
Yeah,
those two things could be true at the same time. So, yeah, it's going to really hurt them 100%. And I think you saw it in the first half against the Kentucky game. You know, I think they were really struggling. I think they were not used. Obviously, they're not used to playing without him. So I think you really saw it in that first half against Kentucky. Like they came out slow, offensively looked horrendous. And yeah, I think they're going to be hurting without him.
yeah. UConn, they played Furman. Furman put up a pretty good fight um, against Furman or against UConn there. UConn no Silas Demery that first game. Virginia played Wright State. Wright State put up a
Steve,
good fight.
real quick. Over under $1 million, Alex Wilkins in the portal next year.
I don't know about that, but over under his NIL that he's going to command $1 million.
Yeah, over under.
Over $1 million.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I
my
think you
point.
said chances he's in the portal.
No. I said like over under $1 million that he's getting next year, like
Oh,
in the portal.
over, I think.
Agreed.
Um, yeah, at Virginia, Alabama, Kansas, even Texas Tech. I'll say all of those four teams that all played really good mid-major teams. All kind of gave them a good fight, but they all ended up kind of pushing it out in the end. UVA won by 9, Alabama by 20, Kansas by 8, Texas Tech by 20 at the end. But all those games were
Yeah.
very close. Like I was very for a second in the first half for all those games, you kind of thought that those teams had a shot. But Joe, what do you think about St. John's? Man, I think we talked a lot about St. John's. We thought they were going to come out slow. They did the absolute opposite of that. They came out swinging against Northern Iowa. I think it was 18-3 at one point.
Good. And this is the Iowa team that was like praised about how good their defense is. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna be shutting down St. John's. First of all, like you said, I think it was 18-3, 18-5, like
Mm,
immediately off rip. So props to them. Second of all, Northern Iowa did not have a single player in double digits, which is like really rare to see. They didn't have a single player score more than 10 points. So just credit to St. John's. Patino, like, dude, there's so many legendary coaches, and I think sometimes Patino can get overshadowed. Dude, he has now made the Sweet 16 in 5 different
mm.
decades. What is
Wow.
that? What is that,
Wow.
bro? Like, like I mean, dude, just one of the all-time goats. I just knows how to win. He's 73. And college basketball has never looked like this in the history of how he's ever coached. It's never looked like this, and he still finds a way to win year after year. They won 30 games last year. They won 30 games this year. Credit to Rick Pitino. I think this team is really, really dangerous. Like, Steve, I think you're going to agree with me on this. I think there's a real chance to get past Duke. Like a real,
Yeah,
real
for
chance to get
sure.
past Duke.
It's definitely going to be a close game. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Miami, Ohio finally ran into their wall against Tennessee. Honestly, I feel kind of bad because I feel like that was like a bad draw for them. Like they definitely could have got a worse 6 seed. Like if they even played like a Texas Tech team, like I think they would have had a shot. So that kind of sucks for them. But yeah, and then Kentucky, Santa Clara, probably that I would say that was probably the game of the day on Friday. Man, such back and forth, and like that shot by Tega Owe, man, he was incredible. 35 points. Um, yeah, what's your take on that game?
No, that's I mean one of the top 10 greatest shots in March Madness history, man. Like
Phew.
back against the wall, like sends it into overtime. I mean, Kentucky fans are brutal, but like at least they won a game. Like at
Yeah,
least they won a game. Yeah, Mark Pope has a lot of work to do. I was listening to a podcast earlier today that I actually kind of agree with. I think Mark Pope's problem has not necessarily been the coaching. I think he's struggled a little bit offensively. I think his problem so far has been roster construction, and you saw it this year. They had one true point guard, and even then, it's like Aberdeen was more of an off-ball guy. Like they really, really hurt without Jalen Lowe. It just really did. So I think next year they got to hone in, maybe get a GM. I don't know. They got to really hone in on some better roster construction there.
I mean, how much of that has to do with injuries, though? I mean, dude, that's got to be at least a point of conversation. Both years he's been
For
there,
sure.
serious injuries with, what was that point guard's name the year before from San Diego State?
I know who you mean. I don't know his name. I know
Yeah,
you.
he was always injured with the shoulder. Jalen Lowe out with the shoulder, and then Jaden Quayton is like probably one of the better players in the country. Had played like what 5 games for them all year, and he's
40
basically
minutes.
and he's just sitting out. Like it's a little bit. But I do agree with you. Like he definitely needs to recruit players that fit him and his system, rather than just kind of going out and buying the most players, like $25 million budget or whatever.
Here's another thing. I don't really want to put you on the spot here, so you can just pass the question back to me. What do you think about? I'm assuming you watched the game. What do you think about Alan Graves at Santa Clara? Like people are saying he is a lottery pick. I don't know about that.
I know you're talking about. I don't know if he's a lottery pick, but he was that guy who hit the game
Yeah.
winner to be. Yeah, he would. I mean, good big for them. Like could stretch it and all that, but I don't think anything really stood out. I don't think his athleticism is NBA level. So, yeah, that's my take on that. UCLA, UCF. UCF was a popular upset pick with no. I don't know how to pronounce. What is his last name? Bilodeau for UCLA.
Bilodeau.
Bilodeau, yeah, no Bilodeau for UCLA. They pull out the win. Miami gets a good win over Missouri. Good first year for Jay Lucas, man. He did a good job getting, like we just talked about with roster construction. He got a good group of guys in his first year. And then Utah State, man, they beat up on Villanova. Got a good win there, and then Iowa over Clemson. Those 8-9 games, man, they're just coin flips. But I'll always take the team with the best player. And I took Bennett Sturz and I took MJ Collins. That was my thought process through that.
Yeah, and quick shout out to Jared Calhoun, man. Really good season. They are a powerhouse over there, and he gets rewarded by. I don't know if you saw this today. I think Cincinnati made it official. Yeah, so he's now the head coach at Cincinnati. Well deserved. He's done a really good job over there, and I think will continue to do a good job at Cincinnati.
Yep.
But also, like, actually, we'll talk about this later. I really want to get into the second round of stuff because this is where I'm really gonna dive deep into some better games.
Second round. Michigan St. Louis started out the day, man. It sucks that they had to run in to a Michigan team. I think, honestly, if they would have if they would have got like a 7 seed and went up against a 2 seed, they would have had a real shot of beating them. I think this was a really well put together team. The size for Michigan really messed with them. I saw they get in the lane a lot and they're just gluing to the shooters and they're basically daring you to shoot over Mara. So yeah, rough game for St. Louis to end up on.
Yeah, agreed.
Duke TCU, the game after that. Final score was 81-58, but this game was close for a while. I mean, TCU was up around halftime. It definitely was a lot closer than what the final score says, but they come out with the win, man. But I don't think after this first round of 64, round of 32, that I'm confident in this Duke team to make a national title run.
If I'm being honest, I think it was a 4-point game with 16 minutes left, something like that, and the refs bailed them out time after time. TCU, I mean, to be fair, TCU could not stop fouling, but there was a lot of ticky-tack stuff that Duke got away with. I think the foul count was very different between the two teams. I'm scared of this Duke team, man. I think they're really hurting without Foster, and I think they're really hurting. Like, Gamba played a little bit, but he's definitely not 100%, so I think Cam Boozer's good enough. Like, we talk about these coin flip games. They're playing St. John's. Cam Boozer's going to be the best player on the floor. We both know that, but I think Zuby Ejiofor matches up really well with him, and it's going to be interesting. Like, if they're a wash, honestly, if they're a wash, I think St. John's has the better supporting staff now. Am I crazy there?
No, not at all. I mean, I definitely think you might be convincing me. I might be just take St. John's at this point. Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel pretty
Yeah.
confident in them, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be a great game. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle Boozer. Like if they're just gonna let Ejiofor play one on one with him and just say my guy's better than your guy, or if they're gonna throw a double. You know, the intensity of St. John's playing defense, I think could mess a lot with Duke on the offensive end. Houston, Texas A&M. Houston takes care of business. Great first season for Bucky McMillan at Texas A&M. I don't think going into the season anyone thought that they were going to be a round of 32 team. But man, yeah, credit to them. Houston looks pretty strong. You know, really confident in them going forward. Michigan State, Louisville. Dill, how do you feel about this season for Louisville? Do you feel like they lived up to the expectation that was set on them preseason with bringing in all the good recruits, going out in the portal, probably having one of the best portal classes from this last season? Do you feel like they underperformed a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think they did underperform a little bit. I think preseason we were really high on this team around. I think that they were a borderline top 10 team. I think preseason we can agree with that. And
Yeah.
being a 24-11 team in a weak ACC, I think is a bit of an underachieving season for them. I'm worried about Pat Kelsey. I think he's a objectively, I think I'd love to play for him. Like I think he's a player's coach. I think he's highly energetic. Like loves his guys. You know, will go to battle for them. But like I think he still does not have a marquee win where he's like, yeah, I beat a team that was better than me. I went in there, outcoached the other coach, and we just beat a better team. Like I still don't think they have done that. If I'm looking at their KenPom stuff right now, I think their best win this year was like away at Miami, which is a good win. Like don't get me wrong, but like we need, in my opinion, I just need to see Kelsey get a bona fide win, man, and it did not come this year, and it hasn't come in years past. So I think that there was a
Duke at
little bit of
home,
underachievement
going
this year.
into Duke, beating them, winning the
Yeah.
turn. A Michigan State win would have been huge.
Yep.
I
Even like
completely
a Virginia win would have been like, yeah, Virginia's a great team. I would have taken that. They didn't beat Virginia.
yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that definitely sums it up for them. That like, you know, you had all these expectations that, you know, like I said earlier, best portal class probably.
Yeah,
And
they're
come
up there
out
for sure.
and to come out and like, you know, people were comparing you to Duke, like thinking like who's going to win the ACC regular season,
Yeah.
and it really wasn't even a question. Like after that first game they played against each other at Louisville,
Yeah.
it wasn't even a question that Louisville was not in that top echelon of ACC schools, which is,
Yeah.
like you said, in a low ACC season.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, Texas making a run here. Beats Gonzaga. I think we have both agreed that this isn't the same Gonzaga team that started the season. Not the best team that Mark Few has put out there in recent years, but still a strong team. But man, this Texas team is hot.
Had in my bracket, I had BYU beating Gonzaga. I thought the winner of that game was going to be Gonzaga. This is just a banged up team. It's a team that has not been playing well as of late. It kind of reminds me of a UConn team where like in a weaker conference and has not been beating the teams by a million points that they probably should be. So yeah, Boca Titus also looking like one of the best big men in the country. So Texas is hot. I think they give Purdue a run for their money, man. I really do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. VCU, Illinois. Illinois took care of business here. I don't really think there's much to say on this game. I think Illinois, Houston in the Sweet 16 is probably going to be the best game I'm most looking forward to.
Oh my gosh,
Talk
me
about
too.
stellar defense versus stellar offense. Like just,
Oh man.
it's going to be such a good game.
Whoever wins that game, I'm changing my point guard pick to whoever wins it. So it's either going to be Wagler. I'm taking Wagler ahead of Flemings, or I'm taking Flemings ahead of Wagler. I'm just doing it.
Yeah. No, I'm not that big on Wild. I'm bigger on
Yeah.
Flemings. Vanderbilt and Nebraska, the game of the tournament so far. I don't think it's a question. I mean, so much back and forth. That was basically a home game for Nebraska. The fans were out. You know, sea of red in the stands. Just an absolute grit win. I think that going down the stretch, final 6 minutes, you literally could have been like the back and forth. It was just like, all right, Nebraska goes up one, then Vanderbilt goes up one. Nebraska ends up getting the last laugh. That shot by Tyler Tanner rims out the second time this season that
Man.
a half court shot has rimmed out, which sucks for Vanderbilt, man. I feel like they just really got the short end of the stick this season. Um, Funny enough, like no one thought they'd be at this level, but like I think it's even fair to say that like I think they should have been even better.
Yeah.
I don't know how many wins they ended up with this season. 27. Like they were definitely a 30-win team in my opinion. So sucks for them, but gave us the game of the tournament.
Game. Yeah, Vanderbilt season ends. I think Tyler Tanner has proven himself as an elite point guard. I will say this: I'm not the biggest fan of bringing guys back for another year. I think you just test your waters in the NBA. I think he'd actually really benefit from another year of college. I think putting on another 10 or 15 pounds and going into a weaker draft class next year could really help him financially in the long run. And then Nebraska, man, this is a team that like just has not had the success in March that you want to see out of a high major team. And like they finally take the lid off. They're playing well. This is a really good Nebraska team or a Vanderbilt team. I had Vanderbilt beating Nebraska, and it's just a fun team. Like you have little Sam Hoiberg running around there, making plays, and they got snipers on the back end with these big guys. So, dude, is this the most exciting game of the year up until this point? Is it?
For the tournament, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a game! This is a game where like I can easily see myself this summer. Like I'm missing college basketball.
Just go back and watch this game. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Last game of that night, Saturday night, High Point, Arkansas. Man, gosh, another disappointing. Like, I mean, I say this about every game, so it's. I guess it's not even true at this point. But like, I hate to see High Point lose. Like, I feel like it was just a bad matchup. Like. It wasn't meant to be for them to make the run. Darius Acuff had 36, but I mean this High Point team proved that they could have been Cinderella.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really scared to see if Arkansas beats Arizona. Darius Acuff has a chance to put up the most points in March Madness history, bro. He just gets a bucket, dude. Like, say what you want about him on defense. The kid can score the ball, man. So
not to mention, man,
really
he's averaging like 10 assists too as he scores 30 every night.
Offensive engine, bro. It's
yeah. Moving on to Sunday, Florida, Iowa, man, also probably up there with game of the tournament. A lot of back and forth. We talked a little bit about. Down the stretch, Florida is up 2, 15 seconds. Iowa has the ball, full court to go. Todd Golden talked about fouling up 2, putting a bad free throw shooter for Iowa. They had a couple on the floor that weren't great free throw shooters, putting them out of line, making them make 2 to at best tie it, or I guess it's at worst for Florida to tie it. And then you get the ball to go make a play for the win. Man, heartbreaking to see Tommy Howe make such a bad decision defensively to end his career at Florida. Coming down, he has to make a choice between guarding the corner or stopping the ball from going to the rim. At worst, what can happen if they go to the rim is it's a tie game. But he bites on it just a little bit. They kick to the corner for the wide open 3. Man, it felt like Ben McCollum just kind of outcoached Todd Golden, in my opinion.
Echo everything you just said. I think you hit everything on the head. A couple mistakes by Iowa. I don't think you put a player, or by Florida. I don't think you put a player on the ball there. I think you just deny Bennett Sturts. He's the best player on the floor.
Yep.
I don't think you let him touch the ball. I think that you get the worst free throw shooter. And you just let him catch the ball, and then you just foul him. Like you said, Todd Golden had talked about it previously. Just don't guard him. Let him be an option, and if they decide to pass it into him, just foul him there. And then the third mistake they made, like you said, I think Tommy Howe helped too much. I think you do a short stunt, maybe a little jab with your right foot there, and immediately get back to your man. Like you said, the worst thing that can happen, it's a tie ball game, and then it goes into overtime where you're the better team, pretty much at home there. So
Mm.
heartbreaking loss by Florida. Ben McCollum, coaching masterclass. I think he has. It's not really his fault. He's struggled to recruit other than Bennett Sturts, but I think with just an X's and O's standpoint, it's undeniable. He's one of the top 10 coaches in the league, in all of college basketball. I think it's undeniable at this point. So, really big win for Iowa, and a 1 seed finally goes down before the Final Four.
Do you think he jumps ship again if he gets an offer? This would be the 4th school in 4 years.
I do, yeah. He's done it before.
Really?
I don't know why he wouldn't do it again. To be fair, he is an Iowa guy, but like,
is he an Iowa guy?
Yeah.
Oh, if you could see him going to one of the schools that you think is going to be opening up, where do you see him as a fit?
Like UNC is just going to go in house. I could see it being at Kansas, but Kansas really likes Jock Vaughn, their head assistant. So, like, I don't know, bro. He's a winner. Like, at what point do you just accept the fact that he can win at any level? Yeah. I'd see him more at Kansas than at UNC. But
that would be a crazy,
that would be
crazy hire for them. I thought that Randy Bennett hiring at Arizona State was probably the most, like, wow, like, what a hire for Arizona State to go get a guy like Randy Bennett from St. Mary's.
Yeah. And he's an Arizona guy. Like, I know he lives in Arizona, so it makes sense from that standpoint. But, like, also agree. I love him as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is completely, like, way out of left field. Like, but when I think of ASU, I don't think of, like, slow tempo, like, grit and grind. Like, I just don't think that. I think Arizona
I think
State,
of the school. I'm thinking, like, party school, like, all this
that's
stuff.
what I'm saying.
And then you get this old dude who plays slow basketball coming in. Like, that does not resonate with me at all. Utah State, Arizona was a pretty good game for most of the night, honestly. I think Utah State really put up a good fight. Arizona's size proved to be the best of Utah State down the stretch.
Yeah.
Jaden Bradley had another good game, 18 points.
Yep.
Who do they play next? They play... I forgot who they play. But anyways, Purdue, Miami. That was the first game of the day. Miami, man, they were up in the beginning. But Purdue, again, just kind of their best players, they're Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Wren, Braden Smith, they kind of, asserted themselves down the stretch. Got them the win there.
Yeah.
Iowa State, Kentucky, man, defense is a calling card for guys at Iowa State. Kentucky went up early. Iowa State, it was kind of sluggish at first for them. They weren't really doing much offensively, and then it felt like a switch just like clicked for them. Like the intensity went up, they were getting live turnovers, and then it was creating open shots for guys like Monkilovich, guys who can't really create much. They just got to kind of shoot open shots. Do you think this Iowa State team has any potential to go to the Final Four without Joshua Jefferson if he doesn't come back?
Let's see who they have. They'll play Tennessee
and then Michigan.
Yeah, I could see it. The way that Alabama played against Texas Tech, I know Texas Tech is banged up, but like I give them an outside shot to beat Michigan. I think this Michigan team is really good. I think they're inconsistent though, so I think that if Michigan ends up losing to Alabama, or even if they don't, like I could see it happening, but I would. I mean, this isn't a hot take. I'd say they're probably the second most likely team to win that region.
Great take, still. Love it.
Yeah.
UCLA, UConn, a tale of two asshole coaches who just no one likes. Apparently, I very dislike Mick Cronin way more than Dan Hurley. Yeah. I mean, I just hate watching Mick Cronin coach. Dude is just so. Yeah, I'll stop. But yeah, I hate watching him. Good game for UConn. They finally seem to kind of find their outside shot a little bit. They'd been struggling from outside. I think you saw a little bit of it start to show in this game, but it's definitely got to pick up if they want any shot of making a run here.
Yeah. And to be honest, like that UCLA team's a good team. So if you're Dan Hurley and you're like, yeah, my best player just had a really poor performance, like the first 30 minutes, Terrace Reed was just non-existent. So and they somehow find a way to win that game. I'm honestly feeling good if I am a Husky fan. Geez,
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. Like I think they're playing well, and I think that outside of Terrace Reed, like everyone played really well. They hit 8 threes, which was like finally good to see. I think Braylon Mullins needs to step up a little bit. I think he had 5 turnovers, and just kind of had some dumb freshman mistakes. So if they get him on board, they start clicking on all cylinders, it's going to be another dangerous team. I mean, it's Dan Hurley in March, and he's a number 2 seed. Like they're going to be a good team regardless.
Tennessee over Virginia, 79-72. Jacoby Gillespie had 21. And then right before that was St. John's, Kansas. Man, Dill, another scenario end of game coaching decision. What did you like? What Kansas did there at the end of the game? Kind of walk through the situation, tell them what you would have done.
We talked about it over the phone earlier today. I'm just going to say exactly, just repeat kind of what you said. 15 seconds left. They have 2 or 3 team fouls. The right thing to do in that scenario is foul, which they were doing. They were fouling. It's just they weren't taking any time off the clock. I think Bill Self needed to make more of an emphasis on like, hey, once the ball gets in, let them take 2 or 3 dribbles. They think they might have something, then foul. And then once they get to 5 fouls, personally, I would not have made a 6th foul there because once you have a 6th foul and you foul on the ground, you get the bonus, and then it's 1-1. So you got to play really soft defensively. I think you take one less foul there and you just space them out more. So then at the end of the game, you have 5 fouls. You don't need to feel like, okay, I can't foul on the ground because if I do, they're gonna be a bonus. I think just maybe not a coaching mistake because I think Bill Self knew what he was doing. I think it was more of a communication mistake by Bill Self and the rest of his coaching staff.
Yeah, so miscommunication there, and then a total miscommunication when you finally are stopped fouling. There's 5 seconds left, and DeMarco Jackson just gives a absolute layup to a guy who had not scored a field goal all game.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, that was really. I was screaming at my phone like, "What are they doing?" Like as that's happening, it was really frustrating to watch, especially because I had Kansas winning. But
this is Steve. Just really, I know this isn't a prospect video, and we've already talked about a couple of these prospects. I think Bill Self is a phenomenal offensive coach, and if you go back on KenPom and you look throughout the history of his his coaching staff and his ability to coach offense, he's always consistently been in the top 20 or 30 in offensive efficiency. Dude, they ended the season 59th in offensive efficiency, 59th, and this is supposed to be. He has a guy on his team that's supposed to be the best offensive player in the entire nation. I'm skeptical, man. I'm skeptical. I know he's hurt. I know that he isn't feeling 100%. I just don't think he was the guy that we're all thinking that he was going to be. And I think March, he was good these 2 games, but, like, I don't think he was great. And I'm expecting greatness out of a guy I'm picking 1 through 3. You know what I mean? And I just think that they didn't have it this year. I just don't think they did.
yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say. Honestly, I mean, there was a lot of weight put on his shoulders, as you said, as like the top pick to be. I think a lot of people expected that they would be one of the top offensive teams, but I think there's also something to say about the surrounding cast of like how you put together this roster for Kansas. And I don't think a guy like Bill Self at Kansas is thinking about roster construction the same way Mark Pope is at Kentucky. But I mean, I think Darren Peterson could have standed to benefit from different pieces around him. I don't think while Melvin Council, Trey White, like some of these guys are great players. I just don't think they really fit with like what Darren Peterson is trying to do offensively.
Yeah, I agree.
So, end of the night, Alabama, Texas Tech. Alabama blew them out. I think Texas Tech finally met, the end of the road with no JT Toppin of like how far they can go. Yeah, not really much to say there with Texas Tech. It's just disappointing. Injuries plagued them all season long. I was so big on them preseason, and then to see that kind of end up like this was just real real disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But always next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we saw the writing on the wall with his team. They had the talent, they had the money to do it. I love Grant McCasland. I think he's a top 15 coach in the nation, but just banged up, man. The worst thing about basketball, I think the worst thing about sports in general, there are injuries.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
All right, well, that was our recap of the first weekend. Give us some thoughts down below what y'all thought about the games, what games you liked, what games you thought were good watches. I mean, I know there obviously were some good ones, some bad ones. Put down below who you were, what matchups you're liking for this next weekend. Me personally, I talked about it earlier. Houston, Illinois is my game to watch. Still, what's your game to watch?
That's mine too. I'm so excited about that game.
It's literally going to be the best game. So, all right. Well, appreciate y'all listening in. Catch y'all later.
Thanks, guys.